A lot of headlines entering the 2024-25 NBA season are centered around the Golden State Warriors. It's not all surprising because they won the most championships in the last decade, and with a dismal showing last season and Klay Thompson leaving to the Dallas Mavericks, everyone seems to think that it is over for the Dubs. But what everyone is forgetting is that there is a certain four-time NBA champion, two-time MVP, and the best three-point shooter in NBA history, Steph Curry, on the roster. Easily a top 10 or top 5 player in NBA history for many. So what will it mean for Steph if he pulls off one more championship run without his longtime partner? We all know how dynamic the Splash Brothers have been together since Klay made his NBA debut. Steph found a partner who, together, formed an era dominated by the Warriors winning 4 titles and dropping memorable performances, including a record 73 wins in 2016. But hoisting another trophy without Klay seems like a difficult one, especially seeing how the Dubs underperformed last season. The Warriors had it rough in 2023-24, and let's just say, no one really expected it that rough. They were dealing with adversity on all sides. They managed 46 wins, which sounds decent, but that was after battling a rocky start where they had a sub-500 record through 43 games. Somehow they rallied back to go 27-12 in their last 39 games, numbers that would have been on par with top seeds in the Western Conference. But despite all that, they finished 10th in the West and lost to the Sacramento Kings in the play-in, and no playoffs. They had the best record for a team to miss the postseason since 2013-14, so maybe a little positive to take, but the negatives flipped the scales. Klay's contract issue was all over the air, plus the never-ending saga of Draymond Green's suspensions. It was a tough year all around, but somehow, the core of Steph, Draymond, and Klay stayed healthy through it all, only to miss the playoffs for the first time in a season where all three finished healthy. But just as things couldn't get any worse, the Dubs couldn't agree on a deal for Klay, and he headed to Dallas. But amidst all that, Steph suited up for Team USA in the Paris Summer Olympics, his first ever, and he added something new to his trophy case, an Olympic gold medal. He finally got his first taste of Olympic glory when Team USA took down France 98-87 in Paris. And for Steph, this wasn't just another medal to hang up. It meant everything. Steph dropped 24 points in the final game against France, shooting 8 of 13 from deep because, of course, he is Steph. That came on the heels of an insane semifinal game against Serbia, where Steph went off for 36 points. And don't forget, the US had to claw their way back into that game, eventually winning 95-91. Steph was the catalyst in that comeback, putting up clutch shots like he was back in the NBA Finals. Winning that Olympic gold may have brought back a winning feeling for Steph, something the Warriors fans will love to see. Heading into the 2024-25 season, there's a lot of chatter about whether the Golden State dynasty is officially dead, especially with Klay no longer in the picture. But it was the same tune everyone sang back in 2019 when Kevin Durant packed his bags for Brooklyn. And yet, 3 years later, the Warriors hosted the trophy again in 2022. I mean, as long as Steph is still breathing, the Warriors aren't out of the game. The doubters are still at it. A lot of people are saying there's no way Steph can bring another championship back to the Bay. They said Andre Iguodala deserved Finals MVP in 2015, not Steph. And of course, KD supposedly carried the Dubs to glory in 2017 and 2018. But after all that noise, Steph came back in 2022 and showed the world that the Dubs could still win it all. The 4th ring was easily the most satisfying one for Steph. Now, don't get me wrong, the 2015 championship was special. That was the one that caught everyone off guard and gave Warriors fans something to finally celebrate after 40 years of frustration. And the 2017 and 2018 runs were dominant. But the 2022 title took something extra after 3 disappointing seasons where they lost in the finals in 2019, losing 3 things in total. The final, a chance for the first three-peat since 2002, and also losing Klay to a horrible injury that saw him miss 2 seasons. In 2019-20, they finished with the worst record in the league as Steph only played 5 games. And just when things started to look up, boom, another Klay injury sidelined him for the 2020-21 season. They didn't even make the playoffs that year, bowing out in the play-in tournament. It felt like the magic in the Bay was gone for good. But as the 2022 season proved, you just can't count out the dubs. Steph showed everyone once again why he's one of the greatest ever. Klay fought back to contribute in huge moments, and Draymond's defensive intensity was still a game changer. It was a dominant blowout like the KD years, but that's what made it so much sweeter. So, heading into another season, the question about another championship has popped up again. Another title would further cement Steph's legacy as one of the all-time greats. He's already changed the game, redefined how basketball is played, and collected MVPs and rings along the way. But winning one more, especially without Klay, will definitely silence any remaining critics. At 36, Steph is pretty much locked in as one of the all-time greatest point guards. But at the end of the day, championships are the real currency of greatness, especially in the eyes of fans. So a fifth championship would tie Steph with Magic Johnson at 5 rings. Not only that, but he'd also be sitting on the same level as Kobe Bryant and have more rings than LeBron James. Only 13 players in NBA history have more than 5 championships, when the likes of Bill Russell won 11 titles. But Steph's legacy isn't just about the number of rings, but how he won them, and a 5th ring would be Steph showing he can still dominate the NBA in his mid-30s, outsmarting and outplaying a new generation of stars. At this point, there's not much left for Steph to do in terms of expanding his legacy. But if he were to win another championship, it would add something special to his already legendary career. It will be difficult. The NBA is in the process of moving on from Steph, LeBron, and KD. At least some people seem to think so, especially as we see the younger generation of stars taking over the spotlight in the 2024 NBA playoffs. Many believe that these legendary players are nearing the end of their championship runs. For the first time since 2005, the second round of the playoffs didn't feature a team with Steph, LeBron, or KD in it. But it doesn't mean the window is closed. Michael Jordan won his second three-peat with the Chicago Bulls in his mid-30s. However, Steph will need a lot of help doing so. One of the biggest keys to Steph and the Warriors' hopes for another title is the development of Jonathan Kuminga. With Draymond Green missing loads of games due to suspension last year, Kuminga had to step up, and he delivered. He bumped his scoring average up from almost 10 to over 16 points per game last season in his 3rd year. Golden State's rookies Brandon Podziemski and Trayce Jackson-Davis also gave the Dubs an extra edge last season. Sure, Jonathan Kuminga has shown growth, and Buddy Hield, a great shooter who was brought in this offseason, is a nice addition, but it still feels like the Warriors are a few pieces short of a championship run. Missing out on Paul George was a big hit, as he could have been the last piece of the puzzle. Steph is still capable of leading a team to an NBA title, there's no doubt about that. He was arguably the best player for Team USA during the Olympics. But there's a reason LeBron was named MVP over Steph. When Steph's shots aren't falling, his impact on the game tends to drop off more than other all-time greats like LeBron. LeBron can have an off night shooting, but still control the game with his passing, defense, or physicality. Steph, on the other hand, is most lethal when he's knocking down those signature deep threes. And when those shots aren't hitting, the Warriors need a secondary option to step up. Someone like Prime Klay, or even better. But looking at the current Warriors roster, there's no one there. Heading into the 2024-25 season, it's going to be a tough path for Steph and Golden State to return to their former glory. But it's not impossible. There's always a chance the Warriors could make a big move in the trade market to give the baby-faced assassin the support he needs and win his 5th ring. So, do you think it's possible? And what will it mean for Steph? Let us know and check out this video here.